Welcome to Big Blend Radio with your hosts, Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazine.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Blend Radio. Today we're going to Silver City, New Mexico to chat with artist Victoria Chick about her brand new exhibit, New Eyes on New Mexico, and will be on display in the Richardson Gallery of the Brannigan Cultural Center in Las Cruces, New Mexico from February 7th through March 21st, 2020. And as you know, Victoria's on our shows about every month. Victoria's a contemporary figurative artist and early 19th, 20th century print collector. She's a longtime expert here on Big Blend Radio and Big Blend Radio and TV magazine, as well as in our Parks and Travel magazine. But go to her website, victoriachick.com. And for once, we get to talk about Victoria's art because she's always telling us about everybody else's art. So welcome back, Victoria. It's all about you today.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. It's good to be back.
Hey,
this is a show. I mean, I'm really excited about doing this show. So I'm happy to talk about it.
It's exciting because New Eyes on New Mexico, we always, I know that people talk, behind your back, oh, she's the cat lady artist, You're known for your cats. Nancy and I always talk about it, but I love it because I don't understand how you are able to, I suppose this is what a contemporary figurative artist is, that you can show movement, but you don't overshow the movement. You look at it and you're like, what that cat's thinking. And so it's really interesting in this exhibit of how in these paintings, you've done New Mexico with the labels, with the labels that you put inside the New Mexico paintings. And now
Right.
You've got the cats in there going, hey, I'm looking down on that mountain, like, what can I scoop my paw down in that canyon and, grab a fish? Or, can I go through the city of rocks? I'm like little puma. I'm going to, hunt down a peccary. It's really cool because it's seen through the cat's eyes. But I think we should start with that. Explain the cat connection.
Well, gosh, you've really summed it up here almost. But cats. I'm so associated with cats, so I guess I can't get away from that. And when we moved here from California to New Mexico, I just started. I was amazed, really, truly amazed, because when I was in college, people from New Mexico that went to school where I went to school in Kansas City, Missouri, kept talking about the land of enchantment. And I thought, are they crazy? Because my vision, I had a preconceived idea of what New Mexico was, which was pretty flat with not much going on. And then, of course, coming here and actually experiencing the state has been transformative, in my opinion, of the state, and because it's just everywhere you look, everywhere I look, it's interesting. And so I started painting cats looking at New Mexico, and I think the cat must be my alter ego as far as expressing what I saw. And I saw a lot, and some of the stuff that strikes me in New Mexico maybe kind of insignificant to other people, like, a particular flower, for instance, or the way the rocks are.
Yeah.
I like the way I'm glad you choose cats because, it's a big difference between cats and dogs. Cats can stare at one bug for hours.
They're observant.
Dogs have to go do something with it. They sniff around, they look at it, now they got to go lick it or sit on it, or they have to chase it, or they have to do something. Where a cat, it's just sitting back and like, I want to see what you do. And then after maybe 10, 20 minutes, I think, okay, now I might want to play with you because I'm bored with you because you haven't done anything. So then the paw comes out. Let me just tap you on the head here. Now I'll see what you do. And then sit and wait. Whereas dogs are like, let me just go right on in there.
Well, in my paintings, the cat is definitely contemplating various things in the paintings, and I went back kind of in thinking about this after I got a number of these paintings done. I had them lined up, and I was kind of looking at them, and I think, why did I do these cats? But I remembered that when I was in California, I had a show in Santa Isabel, and there are several Indian reservations near Santa Isabel. The lady who owns the gallery told me that one of the women from the Mesa Grande tribe came over and identified my work, and she said, I bet the cat is her totem. And I had never even thought about that. I thought of them as sometimes as my alter ego after I'd done work, but I think she was right. Because cats lead me places. I mean, you guys know I have cats, and and I follow them around sometimes just because they look at things differently than I do, and places, and they, like you think the cat is looking at you, and all of a sudden the cat suddenly looks back over your shoulder behind you, and you think there's something sneaking up on you. But
and it could be they're going to get a snake,
It could be, yeah, but there's never anything there. So, but anyway, I've done these paintings with the cat being my alter ego, and looking at and they're kind of humorous, some of them, looking at situations where like I have a painting called Prowling Peccaries Possible, where the cat is on a bench and looking suspiciously out behind it. Because I did see my cat. We had peccaries in the yard, and I had never seen peccaries before, so that was pretty exciting.
Oh wow! Yeah, cool.
So javelina, so it's not a wild pig. Well, it's like a giant rat. It's like a warthog. It's a warthog. It's a warthog of the desert, is what I look at.
Yeah, it's a warthog.
And it
has people call it many things.
Yeah, but
I think they're cute.
They're awesome.
And some people think they're really cute, and some people think they're the ugliest thing they've ever seen.
And
so,
they stink. They stink.
Oh,
they stink.
So
you can
cute.
smell them on your hikes.
They're friendly.
Oh no, they're not when they're babies. We've seen them when they're not, but I love them, and I remember when we lived in Tucson on our morning walks, we'd see them all the time. And one time they got into this beautiful lawn area, and the place was doing all the sprinkling. It was a condo area, and they're like sprinkling their little pad of lawn. And the peccaries, it was in the summer, and the little babies come in, the javelinas, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna roll in this. It's like they were like having a ball. And of course, like, we didn't tell anybody because like we wanted them to be safe, but we're like, this is the coolest thing ever. But but what I love about your painting on this, and it's interesting, I was talking about the labels, right? The New Mexico labels.
Right.
This is kind of like you've still brought this into this series, right? There are labels like the prickly poppy, and also with the javelina. And everyone, you can see this up on nationalparktraveling.com, also in the January-February issue of Parks and Travel magazine, so you can see the images. Also go to victoriachick.com, her paintings are there. But the javelina, I mean, just, the cat's going, gah, 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 gah.
The lower jaw.
Anybody who has cats knows what I'm talking about. And because look at the tail, and even the back paw is like doing the twitch, like, I'm going to get you. And it's like, here it is. I'm here. You can't get me. And the javelina is like, nanny, nanny, nanny. It's awesome. This is so awesome.
But it's interesting, like some animals, now in this hotel that we're in now, there's a little dog down a few rooms down, and he or she has no problem stalking a Great Dane. It's like size doesn't mean anything. It's, it's
awesome.
And cats are like that. They're like, if I want to stalk a buffalo, I will. They don't seem to have that, oh, that's too big for me.
No.
No, attitude is everything, and the cats usually have plenty of attitude. So,
do you think, like, I always thought, like, for me, they're connected. Cats and owls and horses are all connected in a way. That observancy, that strength, I will look down on you. I will also support you at times, but they're like, don't be an idiot.
If I have to kick you, I will.
You know what I mean? Like, just when you look at an owl, owls and cats to me are definitely hand in hand. But the horse, and I know you're a horse lady, you got that big ride coming up, right? Do you feel a connection with horses? Because horses are observant too. I mean, you know, they've got that the eye connection, the I'm looking at you, like, what are you doing? Yet at the same time, they could go into dog mode at any time.
Well, you know, horses are interesting compared to cats, because cats are probably act from a level of intelligence that's more than a horse. Now, I know people would, and I love horses, and I got them, but horses are always in a fight or flight mode. I mean, horses are always watching, because they've got a lot of predators that could be after them. I mean, they're operating from a predator standpoint, and so they spook easily. They observe. I sometimes my horses will be looking in the distance, and I will look in the same direction that they're looking, and I don't see anything, but they are focused on something over there. So, you know, I mean, I respect that their intelligent level from that standpoint, because when they are observing, you know, we ought to take notice, because there might be something out there.
It's true, because they're prey, and then a cat is a predator, and a horse is not a predator. So the horse is always from defense mode. So the senses are, how am I going to get in trouble today? Whereas a cat is, what trouble can I cause? And they don't and they don't care about how little they are. They really don't.
Yeah. They will observe him, and they may not attack, but they will follow. Like you were right, they will follow other things that are much larger than they are.
Yeah, they stalk them. Like, I'm going to get you, and then the horse will get all nervous, and the cat's like, I'm just looking.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know you were that big.
Yeah, right. I want to ask this because, you know, when you look at your art and where you bring in lines, so you're very the cat and the mountains, they've got the roundness, and then you always bring in this line structure in, like, we got foundation here, babies. there's a line, signature blue and red line that seems that what you're creating, you always bring something from that's like your signature style of that beyond the cat. Because you paint horses, you paint other things too. I just wanted to say, like, you do have this thing that you bring into your paintings that it's like a continuation.
Well, you know, I experiment a lot, and this show it's going to have several degrees of experimentation. One little experiment I tried was labels, the label kind of thing, where I do a separate painting, and then I actually bond it to the picture.
Yeah.
And then I do the things that are kind of like an extra window, like you would have in a computer in a way, where the cat is in the window, looking out at the landscape or whatever it is.
Like the prickly poppy one to me is like the perfect thing of that. And what I love. Oh gosh, the prickly poppy, like I really love the peccary just because of the, you know, it's like the whole thing. But the prickly poppy, what I love about that, it's like, here I am, I'm letting you know about the flower. So you're teaching us, if we've never been in the Southwest, you have him, there's the signature line that I'm talking about. We're like, here's my foundation. The cat's got the foundation. But the cat is like looking in the prickly poppy, waiting for a bug to come out. Like, I'm going to sit here and be patient and wait. And the prickly poppy in this picture, this, you know, the label, if you will, is like, I'm poking out because I'm prickly and I'm a poppy and I'm not going to have the border all the way around this. Like, you think of all these little things. I'm like, you're so cool, man. It's like fun. I love stuff like this. I love it.
Yeah, because everything's got its own character.
Yeah. And all the window. If I do a window with a cat in it, parts of the cat are always interacting with the rest of the painting, so they're sticking out from that line. Sometimes they're behind the line, sometimes they're right on the edge, and sometimes they're poking out. And I think that's part of interacting with what it is that I'm seeing at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether I'm looking at a mountain with the clouds forming, or overlooking trying to see the Rio Grande through the tamarack that hides it. I want to be involved in what it is I'm looking at.
Oh, go ahead, Nancy.
Okay, I was just going to ask you, what do you think that a cat's face has? Is it more expressive than their body language or not?
Well, I find their body language really expressive. Although if you were a dental student, you might take a cat apart because their muscle structure is not that different from a human. So cats is one of the things that work on, so that cats can be very expressive. I've seen cats smile, for instance. But I've seen dogs seem to smile too. So,
but that's usually when they smell something they don't like.
Well, sometimes we read a lot into our animals. It's hard not to because we identify with them.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting, a good example of that is your one painting somewhere near Buckhorn, and the cat you don't show the eyes. You're like,
right. Well, I when I first started painting cats, I didn't want them to be like greeting card cats, or I didn't want them to be specific cats, because I wanted them to be more universal, because what I was interested in was and I was using their body language to express a situation or a feeling or whatever. And so I would rather, I didn't do the faces in detail because I wanted people to focus on the movement, the body language, which expresses to me a lot about the way people feel, how people react. Or I have two cats in the painting and they don't seem to be getting along. Sometimes if you've ever been in situations where you're arguing or something, you can put yourself in the picture more easily than if it's a specific cat.
That's a good idea.
Or people will have a cat and they'll say, "Oh, that's just like my, little cat Spotty," or whatever.
Because you got the body language down.
Yeah. So that's okay. It's just that they are appreciating it from a different angle that I meant it to be appreciated. But that's okay.
Well, I mean, that's what art is all about. That I had an art teacher who okay, this is funny. She was like a cat person, and I was painting animal portraits, and I was really good at dog portraits. Cats, not. I felt like they weren't as their personalities were harder to paint than a dog, because I've been around a lot more dogs than I have been cats. And she said that I wasn't looking in the right places. And I'm like, well, looking at their face, what do you mean? And she was like, well, it's the shoulders. She said, it's all in the shoulders. And whatever they did in their shoulders determined what their face would be. And I'm like, I'm still looking at that going, okay, I'm not sure. Because I think the brain is really, but it is a thing, because cats really are an enigma to the human species, because they're pretty human, but they're not la human like dogs. Dogs
they're the top thing. They're the top thing on Facebook videos and stuff, man. It's like you put a cat out there, everybody loves it. But like, Victoria, you've been doing cats for a while here.
I do not know why that is, but I get sucked in every time I see a cat video. So, but Nancy, I think you're right. Dogs.
They have a tail that wags.
Yeah, I mean, but that's interesting, because they have a body that wiggles. When they're happy, the tail that wags, and exactly that they're trying to make you like them.
Yeah. And cats are like, whatever.
Cats don't really care.
It's so funny.
But the lady that told you about the shoulders, I mean, that's very observant of her.
Yeah.
Because a lot of movement is going to start in the shoulders.
Yeah.
And, absolutely.
Yeah, so so now when I look at people, I'm like, check out those shoulders.
And cats use their tails. Interestingly,
yeah, they do.
Depending on what positions it's in, you can tell, whether they're friendly, whether they're riled up. They also use it to balance themselves. So when their front end is going one way, their tail is likely to be going in the opposite direction to as kind of a counterbalance. So.
That's like riding a motorcycle. When you get into the curve, you've got to go the opposite way, and then I fall off.
I've seen them hold their tail straight up, and just the last 2 inches, the very tip will wiggle. But everything down from that road, and I'm like, that's so bizarre.
That means they're annoyed.
Yeah,
they're annoyed.
Yeah, I know. And you can look at it. You can see by the tail they're annoyed more than their face.
Yeah, they're like, I'm twitching. Get out of my way. They're
it's
strutting.
like,
the tail straight up. Ding, ding. Move out, people. It's happening. But I think this is really interesting. The colors that you're using too, and how, because you it's like, how do you do this? Like, excuse me, can you just tell me your whole education? How did you make this happen? And all your work that you've done over the years that it's like you don't overdo things, yet I can see the amount of work that goes into every painting. Yet it is like, it's so, I mean, how do you go from, you put all this information in there, but it's simplified, but it's not simplified in the colors. How you bring the colors into the cat, like there's blue in the cat, but it belongs there. It's like really amazing to me, because you do get the feeling of New Mexico and those colors and the clouds and because New Mexico is very varied. Like you have the forest, and then you have the high desert, and then you have the geology and all of that. It's really amazing.
Well, the colors of New Mexico. Yeah, I mean, the sky, we think, okay, the sky is so intense in New Mexico, so blue. And that's true. Whereas a lot of people that use, that turquoise is a real intense color that's found here. But when I look at landscape, it all depends on the light. It all depends on where the sun is during the day. And I love early morning. I love late in the evening, because the shadows are long. There's a change in the color. Those are my favorite times of day. But I find that a lot of color, a lot of natural color, the native colors, the colors of the ground and the trees and so forth, they're kind of muted. Yeah. And the greens are rich color, but they are, there's a lot of darkness in them. Not black, but they're muted. They're grayed down, I guess I'd say is a better term to use. So in my paintings, I think that's kind of reflected. The cats, in this particular series that I'm exhibiting, the cats are all pretty much their natural color, and I use natural, meaning that if you like marmalade cats, that's what these are based on. Although I've taken a lot of liberties with the color within the cats. So, but I mean, I used to do blue cats, green cats, whatever. When I was in a real expressive mode, but here I tried to be a little bit more natural. Yes.
Now, the Brannigan Cultural Center. So you're going to Las Cruces, which isn't that far from you. You get to go see the big giant Roadrunner as you drive by the exhibit.
Oh yes.
We love that.
That's a really great Roadrunner. Yeah.
And here I got into, it brings me up. I got to tell everybody about your new map. See, Victoria sent Nancy and I on our Love Your Parks tour story mission to go and discover art as we travel, as we document parks, go look at art in public places, art education, but we discovered we've been doing a lot of public art. And so now we created this big map of public art. And of course, the Roadrunner is on there. So everyone, you can check it at nationalparktraveling.com. Look under Love Your Parks Tours, see the maps there. But you've got that giant Roadrunner, but like that Roadrunner has some history of what they did and how two sculptors getting together as a recycling project, and they put it in a landfill, then they had to move it out of the landfill, then they had to move it off the side of the road and redo it again. So this Roadrunner has been redressed quite a few times.
He's a wonderful Roadrunner, and I saw him the first time when I still lived in California, and I was driving east, and we stopped at that rest stop where the Roadrunner is located, and it was so neat to get up close to it and see what it was made of.
It's crazy. And little Priscilla, our sock monkey, our little travel mascot, pink sock monkey, I mean, we put her there, and she's actually turned out to be quite good in like showcasing, just give everybody a perception of size. You know, this is how big it is. But I did read, like, I don't know, we went through there summer. Apparently that place is rattlesnake infested. I did all this research, and people are like, watch out for the rattlesnakes out there. So, you know, and the artists are also hoping that you don't get too close and start taking stuff off of the Roadrunner. So they're hoping the rattlesnakes will protect the
keep people away. Yeah,
which was weird because Roadrunners eat rattlesnakes. So anyway,
yes,
they do.
In this case, they're being protected.
Yeah. So Las Cruces. So this is cool. The Brannigan Cultural Center is. So this is like a museum system, right?
Well, Las Cruces has a whole cluster of museums that are in the similar area downtown, and it's a very, very beautiful area. There's an art museum, there's a cultural center, auditorium, etc. City Hall buildings are down there too. So it's easy. It's once you're in downtown, it's easy to locate.
Cool. Very cool. We haven't done Las Cruces at all yet, so that's
we have to.
So now everyone needs to go and check it out.
Yeah, there's a new national, not a park, but a national monument behind Las Cruces in the Organ Mountains. And Organ Mountains, the Organ Mountains are the backdrop for Las Cruces, and they're really spectacular.
Nice.
Always well worth seeing, and this area called Dripping Springs is really, really beautiful. One side is the west side of the mountain is quite stark, and the mountains are almost like spires. And then you go around to the east side. On the east side, there's ponderosa pines. There's other kinds of greenery. There's waterways. It's a very interesting place to take a hike.
Oh, nice. And you did the story with us before on the petroglyphs. Is that near there, or that's near Deming, right? Those were near Deming.
Well, the story I did, that's closer to Deming. But there are some petroglyphs also at the Organ Mountains.
Oh, we need to go there.
Not as many, but but there are some there.
Didn't they save that land, the wilderness area out there, from being mined or something? Or there was oil or something out there. I remember interviewing someone years ago about this, and just years ago.
I'm not certain on that.
Yeah, that was it was years ago. So I know, I can't remember everything anymore, apparently,
Well, that area is there's a very tight area of different kinds of geology in that area. You've got Las Cruces, the Organ Mountains right behind it. If you go north, then you come to White Sands National Monument, which is totally different. And then you head a little bit farther toward Texas, and the land changes again. So it's always interesting. It's always interesting.
Okay, so let me just talk about this. Like, you got White Sands, Roswell, not that far from it, right? And the whole UFO thing. So when we were in Colorado, and we went to Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve, right outside there was a UFO watching station and a UFO garden. Like, really, was a bunch of UFO junk, like, seriously, in a plate. Like, it was like just, and then we went up to the top of the watchtower, and you knew you were going to fall down through if you stayed there too long. They need to replace the tower. Just saying, everybody, don't go up there. But it was interesting.
Okay.
I'm not going to knock them, but apparently this is world famous for UFO sightings, if you believe in that, but I'm just saying, what's up with the big sand and the UFOs? What are people? What's going on? I just want to know.
It's a safe landing.
It's a safe landing. I know.
Well, they're putting a spaceport in, not at White Sands, but it's close to there, and you can access it. It's hard to access right now because nobody's flying, but they are training people who pay, I think, something like $250,000 to go into space.
Right.
And they've been working on this for quite a long time. They've
had
Richard
test flights. In that? Richard?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they've got they simulate. You can go there if you pay your fee, and they simulate no gravity. So you understand what you're getting into when you go up as high as they go, and they're only in that kind of space for just a couple of minutes, maybe less. But I'm sure it's a thrill. It would be a thrill.
You could do the same thing in a swimming pool underwater and hold your breath.
Okay, Nancy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you just get in the back of the station wagon, take on a road trip, and that's just this is cool. But it's interesting. I think it's like same here in Yuma where we are, like with the sand dunes, and it's about the clear air, big wide open skies and everything. So it kind of seems to happen. I haven't heard about UFOs out here, but I'm sure it's happened. Why not? Just bring them down. But I just wanted to touch on one last thing. You've got the one Passage to the Past, that painting, and I love this because the cat is like, I'm a puma, I'm coming through, and the tail, the whole thing. Was this a City of Rocks?
It is City of Rocks. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I've got that one. It was very early in the morning, and there was a boulder behind me when I was doing the sketch. So there's a large shadow in the front, and then the kind of little passage through all the big rocks that are there, and then way in the distance, the land flattens out, and for miles.
Did you is that how you do this? Like go with a sketch pad and go, okay, this is what I'm going to paint, and you sketch it on site. This is cool. Yeah. So did you mean to paint like the face in the rock? Like where the cat is looking, there's a face in the rock with the eyes, a nose, a mouth. Did you do that on purpose?
Now I don't see that. I'm glad you do. See, I don't see that.
Well, it's wine time over here, Victoria.
It's wine time. That's what was going to happen.
It's an ancient face. He's got a mouth, he's got a nose, and the eyes. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Well,
it's not wine time, but I mean, it is like
that's interesting about art, because people see different things. And it's like, in the rocks, you can, depending on the shadows, you could probably see all kinds of interesting things, and
I see something interesting
things
in there, and I'm not going to say it. Everybody else has to go find it for themselves.
No, but okay. I have to go back to that one artist in South Africa, Ruby Silva, her name was, and she painted fairies.
Oh, the fairy lady.
The fairy lady, and she had these great big paintings, and every square quarter inch was a painting of a fairy, but when you stood and looked at the painting, it was a landscape, and you didn't see any fairies at all.
Oh, interesting. Yes.
Yeah.
You told me about her before. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me how many people would stand there and never see a fairy, and other people would see a fairy so fast, I'm like, you didn't really look, you're just saying it. And then because you had to get close and really look and stand at a 45-degree angle, one side or the other, and then you'd start, oh, wait a minute. And then you're like, well, is it my imagination? It's like, it's the funniest thing ever. It's so interesting.
See,
so
but
people, yeah.
I look
so
at things like that all the time. That's like my thing. And when I'm looking, the cat is looking right at this sleeping face. He's like, "Leave me alone. I'm sleeping." The cat's like, "Really? Are you going to get up?" You know. Anyway, I have my own story going on here.
That's so funny.
But that is the beauty of art, and like, we need it more now than ever, as we're all addicted to our phones and everything. I know we do internet radio and all that stuff, but podcasting, whatever you want to call it, the reality is, get out there and experience, because it's so magical when you do. And you get to soak it up and start thinking for yourself. That kind of, you know what I mean? I didn't mean that rude,
right.
but I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, just to have your own experience. And that to me is the beauty of art, whether it's visual, performing, whatever it is. And I love that. Now that's my new favorite one now. So now we'll go to another one and I'll be like, that's my new favorite.
Okay.
So I'm just really glad, because I'm glad we get to talk about your art. It's so awesome.
Well, it's interesting because when we decided to do this, I immediately went into panic mode, because I'm like most artists who really don't want to talk about their art, because our art is supposed to speak for itself. But I know that people want to know why we do things, or what means something to us. People are always going to see things, as you said, differently, and they may not see it the way I intended it ever, but they will look at it and get something out of it, and whatever they get out of it, I'm happy with. So I think that people will enjoy looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
If they have a sense of humor, and a sense of exploration, because that's really in the picture. These cats are exploring,
and
they're finding things out about New Mexico.
Yeah, and well, that's why they have 9 lives, because they're out in the desert going, "Look, I think that's a snake. I don't know. I don't care."
No, they have 9 lives because there's so much to see. It's going to take them 9 lives to do it.
And then I think also they have a sense of humor, because they sit and watch people, and when, man, they're funny.
Yeah.
I know.
They really do. You can see it on their faces. They think we're the funniest things ever.
Or the stupidest. They're so naive.
No, they're looking at it's like, man, look at that.
No, you know what they are? They're Buddhist. They're like, they haven't reached the first level of life yet. No, we're at my 8th or 9th level, you know what I mean, of life, your 9 lives. It's kind of Buddhist, and they're like, sorry, you haven't reached the first one yet. I know you've been trying for 70, 80 years, but you gotta still go another one. They're like, come on. But cats do that. They give you those eyes, and then sometimes they're the sweetest, amazing, beings. And I think that's what's the interesting thing about cats, is that you just have to there's like a trust thing that has to happen, and that takes time. And there's just this whole, I don't know. They really are. I mean, I find it fascinating about the Egyptians with them and everything. Like, the whole cat history is fascinating. And I dig this, and I love this. So glad we get to talk about your art. But before you go, I wanted to ask you this one thing: contemporary figurative art. Who coined that? Is that because it what?
Well, I'll tell you why. Back in the 1940s, there was a shift in art that became abstract. And abstract, some of it was abstract expressive, which you could detect some elements of what the subject matter was. Some of it was abstract. Completely abstract. So you're just combining colors and forms and shapes, and and then there was a reaction against that. And where people started doing one of two things: they became photorealists, or they became figurative painters once again. And they adopted some of the abstract elements. A lot of it was mainly size. They started painting really big. And so a lot of these things wound up in museums. Bay Area figurative painters were really probably the most well-known up in San Francisco.
It's like I'm sorry, go ahead.
Anyway, they did a lot of, it doesn't have to be people. When we talk about figure, it doesn't have to be human figure. It just means that whatever you're painting is easily recognizable now, but you might change the color of it to not be realistic, or you might use very loose brushwork, which it would be in opposition to the people who were trying to do photorealism. They were very careful, and their compositions were very smooth, and the edges were very clean and crisp and clear. So anyway, that's there. The figurative art and contemporary, you're using contemporary interpretation, I would say.
Is
that sound clear?
You can tell in an abstract, you can look at it and go, I don't know what I'm looking at, but I can say how it makes me feel.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with configured stuff, you can see these are cats, so you know that these are cats, but it is not like a cat portrait. Where
you're really
oh my gosh,
yeah.
When I did animal portraits, I was amazed at people like, my cat has 17 whiskers on this side and 22 on this side, so get it right.
It's more about that instead of the actual emotion of it.
And I'm like, just take a picture.
But I think
take a photo.
About what you were saying too, Victoria, you talked about photographers and everything. Right now, what we're seeing is this whole change in the digital photography world, and it's been going on for like the last 10 years, but especially in digital photography now. And I'm in all these different art groups on Facebook and everything, and people post their photos, and people are like, you're using a filter, you've modified it, you've done this. And the guy would come back and say, listen, I wanted you to feel the way I felt when I was there, and if my photo needed to change, it's about changing and modifying and doing. Now I'm pretty much like, let it be, like this is what I saw. And then at the same time, like last night, we went to the Christmas parade here in Yuma, and they had the cars come in that lift themselves up and show their butts up like stink bugs, and they're all decorated out, and the colors were so crazy. So I pumped it up a little bit, put it on the script. Here it is, and it's like, it is crazy what happened. And it's like, you want people to feel like what you felt, and what it wasn't a bad photograph at all. It was about getting it as close to what you experienced as a human being that you could, and give that vibration off, that movement, whatever, you know what I mean? Because it is just that. And we're seeing this big drama now happen in photography, and I was on the other side. Now I'm kind of going on both. I'm kind of
photography is interesting, because when photography was first developed back in the, what was it? It was the 18 something. People who are artists were fearful because why should they can take a picture and we can't do anything like that. We struggle to get things right. But there was a fear that they didn't have to have, because the artist was doing something different. Now photographers, traditional photographers, I shouldn't say now, because that was like 30 years ago when digital was first available to the general public. So you could get a 1.5 megapixel camera, and people were worried. Film photographers were very worried. Now, I don't know how much film photography is done anymore. I mean, the companies that manufacture film have moved on, and I don't know who produces that anymore, if anybody does. People do pinhole camera work, and but technology changes, and people, we all have to adapt to using technology.
But there's still a thing with all this technology. If you don't know how to compose a picture, right? With or without technology, you don't know how to compose a picture.
Yeah,
right. It doesn't discount the need for somebody to have an artistic soul.
Exactly. Look at Nick Collier, right? Nick Collier, he still is like, it's still blowing my mind of what he did in Gettysburg. He was one of the National Parks Arts Foundation artists in residence, and he also served in the military, and so he was there in Gettysburg, and so he also builds his own box cameras, as does the founder of the foundation, Tanya. She builds her own box cameras, goes in there, does this scene, and copied what was in the museum of where you could see the bodies laying down, like the dead bodies in the battlefield, and also in their fighting stance, right? So you could see the whole thing. So he captured it in his own gear from fighting in the recent wars, and went and put himself in the scene throughout the entire thing, recreating exactly what they did back in the Civil War. I mean, to me, I'm like, that is the craziest.
It's crazy. It's awesome.
It's awesome, but yet I'm like, I don't want people to be hurt. Yeah, I don't like war, but it's necessary, and it's what's happens in the world. But his ability
to do that
is absolutely amazing.
Amazing.
What he did in that, I'm still like, that's amazing. And so you've got to look at that balance, like Chip Beck did the same thing. Combat artists, it's what they bring in and how they modify things into. He's like, they're often running, it's like, and they both do other kinds of art. So they've just adapted this into this whole new, this is like a new medium for them.
It's just really thinking past what you see. It's thinking beyond, thinking out of the box, all those terms. But it is really, it's how you see things and making yourself think further and think further and think further.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's so cool. Creativity is the coolest thing on earth, man. It's like we don't live without creativity. Creativity is the best thing.
And I always think it's so amazing. Human beings are gifted with design principles, and we can look back. We may come up with artworks that are utilitarian or artworks that are different in different ages and different epochs, but we can look back and we can appreciate art that was done thousands of years ago. We can appreciate work that was done 50 years ago. It may not appeal to us from an emotional standpoint, but we understand it because we are always using the same language from an art standpoint, and yet with like a dozen different art principles of art, all this different artwork gets created. Artwork that is widely different from other artwork, and yet we're using the same principles and elements.
No, and it's true. It's like it's breaking it all down so you can talk about it. Like I go back to a couple of the art professors I had that was, okay, here's your assignment for the day. Take this pyramid, look at this painting, see how many pyramids that you can find. Don't forget that they can be upside down, sideways, other side, right side up. And find all the pyramids in one of Leonardo da Vinci's paintings. I'm like, oh, Lord, do I have to do it? But then as you got into it, you were like, oh, wow, look at that, look at that, look at that. And you could almost make a whole puzzle out of the paintings, out of pyramids, but not just crossing lines. It had to make sense. It was an interesting exercise that made you think. It sounds like you're thinking in a box, but it made you think totally out there. Like I always felt like once I finished the exercise, I'm like, you now know you're truly crazy.
Well, people say people are different today than they were yesterday. I am not so sure that's true. In fact, I don't really think it's true. I mean, we have envy, we have greed, we have joy, we have any number of feelings and ways we operate to get our feelings satisfied, or our needs satisfied. And I mean, we look at we read Shakespeare, which was written, like 500 years ago, something like that.
God,
Like
yeah.
that.
And we can relate to those people in there. I mean, we may not act like those people, but we recognize all those feelings.
Yeah, that's what it's. I don't. Yeah, our tools change. Our tools change, and that's really the truth. I think it's we invent, and some things we need to uninvent, and then some things keep going with. It is, but that's progression in life, right? And I think it really is true. People are people. At the end of the day, all we really want is love. At the end of the day, we want our family. We want that kind of thing. There's these certain nurturing sides, and then the creative side. I think everybody has some creativity in them, and I mean, like when it comes to accountants, you want them to be as creative as possible. You know what I mean? So it's like it doesn't matter. It's not always art, but creativity is in absolutely everything that is done. If you're in business, you got to be creative. Otherwise, you're not going to survive. So I think it even in battle, in military stances, every battle that is won came from somebody being creative and breaking the mold. So there's not every battle. I can't say that. I don't know, but a lot of them. Let me just go back before I get the emails.
At least a military expert.
But
it was the fastest back down I ever heard.
No, because as I said, I went no, because then it's like no, they followed it to the stance, and then it made this happen. So like no, you will follow the rules. Like as I said that, I was like no, that's not true. But then there's all these people that went rogue and made things happen. So there's that creative thing, and I think that is truly the fire inside of us as individuals is creativity. That is our fire. That's who we are. That's what allows us to do things in life if we accept that fire. I mean, being an artist or a creative person in the arts, it's something you really want in life. It's like who you are, but it's also a very difficult step to take in life, don't you think? As an artist.
You leave yourself open to everybody's opinion, which is incredibly difficult at times.
Yeah. See, you have to be a cat. You have to be a cat. Then you don't care.
Next time somebody says something, you just turn and stare at them.
Yeah.
Like a cat. They just stare at you. You're like, okay, sorry.
Yeah. I like that. What's your superpower in life that you want to have? I want to be a cat. That's my superpower. I love that. Victoria, always a pleasure having you on the show, and especially when we get to talk about your art and your work. It's beautiful. I'm very excited about your exhibit. Again, everybody, this is going to be happening in Las Cruces, New Mexico, so in southern New Mexico at the Richardson Gallery of the Brannigan Cultural Center. Of course, go to Victoria's website, victoriachick.com. The exhibit is February 7th through March 21st. Again, we'll also have it up on nationalparktraveling.com for you to check it out now, and also in the January-February issue of Parks and Travel magazine. So thank you so much, Victoria.
Oh, you're welcome. Welcome. And the first on the 7th, there will be an opening. So I will be there if anybody wants to question me about anything. So,
cool. So you have an opening. Will there be wine? Let's also say.
Well, I don't know that. I'm not in charge of what they have. But
the cats dictate
but we will be there.
There must be wine.
It starts after work at 5. So
awesome.
5 to 7, I think.
Awesome.
So, okay.
And everybody, don't forget, keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. Our shows air Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, except for holidays. But we always love to play music for our guests. And Victoria, you've gone through all kinds of music with us, but I think we play Wally Lauder's music quite a bit for you. Wally, we met him in Silver City, New Mexico, where you're based. And also, he lives in Tucson, where we lived. But this song is, from when he lived there in Silver City. It's called My High Desert Home. And it really gives the feeling of what Silver City is like. And it's such a cool art town. Everyone's got to go check them out. But here it is, My High Desert Home from Wally Lauder. You can keep up with him at wallylauder.com. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
in, traveling on a monsoon wind. Cactus flowers here and there in bloom. The rain is coming soon. There's a cowgirl in a pickup. She drives by smiling at the ranchers and artists, merchants and miners. Warm conversations, new friends I know. Here in my high desert home. Most every day the sky is so blue. Most every evening I'm here with you. Wide open spaces wherever I go. Here in my high desert home. Now the rain's come and gone and the air is so sweet. Merchants and patrons step out in the street. The sun shining kindly on the town down below. Here in my high desert home. Most every day the sky is so blue. Most every evening I'm here with you. Wide open spaces wherever I go.